He earns $180,000 a year. That's enough to support 3 average families in many parts of the world. Yet, at the end of every month, he looks at his bank account and feels something deeply familiar. Anxiety? It's not because he's reckless. It's not a lack of discipline. It's not that he doesn't understand math. It's because there is a mechanism, silent and systemic, where every time his income rises, something else rises with it, and he can never quite catch up to himself. Today, we are talking about making more money. We're talking about why so many people who have earned enough still feel like they don't have enough, and more importantly, why it's not entirely their fault. But whether they escape is entirely their responsibility. There is a concept in psychology called hedonic adaptation, also known as the hedonic treadmill. The idea is simple. The human brain is remarkably good at adapting. When you buy your first car, it's amazing. 3 months later, it's just transport. When you move into a larger apartment, it feels like a new life. 6 months later, it's just where you sleep. The brain wasn't designed to feel permanent satisfaction with a static thing. It was designed to constantly ask, what else is there? That used to be a survival tool. In the modern world, it's an economic trap. But here is the more interesting part, and the one less talked about. Many people don't increase their spending because they are happier. They increase it to maintain the feeling that they are progressing. Think about this for a moment. When your income jumps from $60,000 to $120,000 to $120,000, what is the first emotion? For many, it's the feeling of I deserve to live better now. And strictly speaking, there's nothing wrong with that. But then comes something subtler. Social pressure to look like you are living better. A better car, a better house, better clothes, better vacations. This is what social psychology calls status anxiety. You aren't spending for happiness. You're spending so you don't feel like you're falling behind the people around you. And as your income rises, your circle changes. New colleagues are wealthier. New neighbors are more affluent. Your benchmark for comparison escalates. Income increases 2x. But the cost of looking normal in your new environment also increases 2x. And you end up in the exact same place. Emotionally, this isn't a weakness. This is biology and sociology working in tandem. You don't need to feel ashamed of it, but you do need to recognize it. Now, let's look at a deeper layer, because it's not just individual psychology at play. There is an entire economic system built around ensuring that when your income rises, your spending follows automatically, and often before you can even think. Think about how financial institutions calculate your borrowing power. They don't ask, how much do you want to save? They ask, how much do you earn? And from there, they tell you how much you can borrow. This sounds logical, but in reality, this is a mechanism optimized for the interest you pay, not for your financial freedom. When you earn $180,000, the bank is happy to lend you money for a $900,000 house. Not because it's good for you, but because it's good for their balance sheet. And the tax systems in many countries are designed to make spending easier than saving or investing, especially for high earners. This isn't a conspiracy. No one is sitting in a dark room designing this to ruin you. Its incentive alignment, each institution optimizes for its own profit. Once you understand that, you see the invisible forces pulling at your decisions. Let's talk about something rarely mentioned: lifestyle creep in subscription services. 10 years ago, you didn't have Netflix, Spotify, premium gyms, meditation apps, productivity software, or food delivery services. Today, they are ubiquitous. Each costs $10, $20, or $30 a month. Negligible. But added up, a study by C+R Research found that the average American underestimates their monthly subscription spending by 80%. It's not that these things are bad. It's that they hit our psychological blind spots. Each one is so small that the brain doesn't trigger a need to reconsider response. And when you earn more, you are less likely to check the small things. Because the feeling is, 20 doesn't matter. Multiply that by 20 services and a year goes by. But this is where I want to stop for a moment. Because by now, many people will think, so I have to cut everything? I'm not allowed to enjoy life? No, that's not it. The issue isn't what you spend. The issue is whether you spend unconsciously or intentionally. And those are two very different things. Let's look at the numbers. Not to scare you, but to show you the true cost of financial unconsciousness. Let's say we have 2 people. Let's call them Nam and Min. Both are 30, both earn $100,000 a year. Nam increases his spending every year at the same rate as his income. It always feels just enough. Min decides something else, to maintain his standard of living even as his income rises and to invest the difference. Let's assume Min invests an extra $1,000 a month into a diversified portfolio, with an average growth of 7% per year. This is an illustrative assumption based on historical US stock market data, not a guarantee of future returns. This isn't magic, it's math. And here's the strange thing about compound interest that few truly feel. It rewards patience far more than it rewards intelligence. You don't need to be a stock picker. You don't need to outsmart the market. You just need to start early and leave it alone. But here is the mistake I see many high earners make, a subtle one. They invest, but they invest what is left over after spending. The opposite principle is infinitely more effective. Pay yourself first, then live on the rest. When you invest what is left over, you are relying on willpower. At the end of the month, after everything is paid, the feeling is usually there isn't much left to invest. When you automate your investment the day your salary hits, you are relying on a system. And systems are much more reliable than willpower. There is one more concept I want to put on the table, and it's the thing that makes me think most about this topic. It's called the opportunity cost of time. When you accumulate enough assets, you no longer have to work to pay bills. You work because you want to, because the work is meaningful, not because you have no other choice. That is the difference between working from a place of fear and working from a place of power. Many high earners are trapped not because they don't earn enough, but because their lifestyle has escalated to the point where not working is no longer a viable option. The monthly burn is too high, the debt is too large, the financial obligations are too heavy, and so despite the high income, they have no freedom. They have income. Those are two very different things. To be fair, not everyone starts from the same place. There are those who come from families with no financial safety net. And for them, the urge to spend when money finally arrives isn't irrational. It comes from years of living in a state of scarcity. There are those who carry their entire family, parents, siblings, responsibilities that don't show up in any financial formula. Videos like this, even this one, can sometimes make things look simpler than they are. I don't want that. But here is what I believe. Regardless of your starting point, understanding these mechanisms gives you more power than not understanding them. Not because understanding is enough, but because understanding is the first necessary condition for changing anything. So from what we've just walked through, what are the mindset shifts that actually hold value? Not tips, not hacks, but principles that historical data and behavioral science show work over time. Principle 1. Design first, decide later. Humans are terrible at making financial decisions when emotional, whether excited or anxious. What works better? Design an automated system when you are in a calm state. Automate investments. Automate savings. Reduce the number of times you have to decide, because willpower is a finite resource. Principle 2. Define your enough. This is a question few people stop to answer seriously. How much is enough for the life you actually want? Not the life you think you're supposed to have. There is no right or wrong number. But without a number, you are running a race with no finish line. Principle 3. Distinguish between experience spending versus status spending. Research in happiness economics, specifically the work of Thomas Gilovich at Cornell, shows that spending on experiences, travel, learning, connection, tends to provide more lasting satisfaction than spending on status symbols. It's not an absolute rule, but it's a useful filter. Am I buying this because it truly makes my life better, or because it makes me look better? Principle 4. Be wary of things that raise your floor. Every time you increase a fixed cost renting a nicer place, buying a house, a car lease, you are raising the minimum amount you need to earn every month just to survive. You are narrowing your margin of freedom. Conversely, keeping your floor low even when you can afford higher is one of the most powerful ways to maintain agency over your own life. Going back to the man at the start of this video, the one earning $180,000 and still worrying, doesn't need to earn more. He needs to stop and look at his financial architecture to see how much of it is truly serving the life he wants, and how much is just serving an image he feels he must project. That answer each person must find for themselves, but the question is one everyone should ask. And truthfully, this is the part many don't realize until it's too late. Financial freedom isn't a destination. It's the consequence of thousands of small decisions, every day, every month, every year, made with clarity instead of reflex. Money is a tool to buy back your time and your options, but that tool only works when you understand what it's being used for, because in the end, the math always wins.